All right, let's get right into it. We're going to explore the very, very beginning of a new organism. This is a microscopic journey that is literally the origin story for every single one of us. It's really a tale of two highly specialized cells and the incredible, precise sequence of events that has to happen for them to unite and, well, spark a new life. So you have to ask, how does the story of every living being actually begin? Well, it starts right here, with one single, truly remarkable cell, the fertilized egg. But to really understand this one cell, we've got to trace the two very, very different paths that come together to create it. We're going to follow the making of the sperm and the preparation of the egg. Okay, first up, the making of the sperm. This whole process is, well, it's a biological marvel of just pure efficiency and mass production. It's all about creating an absolutely immense number of tiny modal contenders for the race. Now, both of these stories, the sperm and the egg, they fall under this larger biological process called gametogenesis. And the key thing to remember here is this special type of cell division called meiosis. Its entire purpose, really, is to cut the number of chromosomes in half. It goes from a full set, what scientists call diploid, to a half set, or haploid. And this is absolutely critical, right? So that when the two gametes finally combine, they restore the perfect number of chromosomes for the new organism. The journey of a sperm cell is a lot like a super organized assembly line. It starts with these stem cells, the spermatogonia. They grow up a bit, become primary spermatocytes, and then they go through those two big rounds of meiotic division. What you get are spermatids, which kind of just look like normal round cells. But then, and this is the amazing part, comes the final transformation, where they morph into the functional, swimming sperm we all recognize. And this really gets to the heart of the whole process. The end goal is to create a cell that is both minute, meaning tiny, and motile, meaning it can move. It's incredibly small, stripped of basically all non-essential baggage, and it's given a tail for one mission and one mission only: to travel and deliver its precious genetic cargo. Okay, so let's switch gears and look at the other side of the story, because preparing the egg is a totally different strategy. I mean, if the sperm story is all about quantity and being able to travel, the egg story is all about quality and just massive, massive preparation. So this process also starts with stem cells, the oogonia, which grow into a primary oocyte. But here is the massive difference. When the meiotic divisions happen, they're totally unequal. So instead of making 4 equal cells, all the cytoplasm, all the valuable resources get funneled into just one huge functional egg. The other cells are just these tiny little polar bodies that pretty much get discarded. And the sheer scale of this preparation is just staggering. During its growth phase, an oocyte can expand its volume by up to 100,000 times its original size. I mean, think about that. That is an enormous investment of energy and resources, all packed into a single cell. So why does it get so incredibly big? Well, it's because the egg isn't just bringing DNA to the party. It's a fully stocked launch pad. It has to contain all the RNA, all the proteins, the nutrients, the cellular machinery, literally everything the new embryo will need to survive and start its super fast development in those first few hours and days, long before it can start making its own stuff. So it really boils down to this fundamental difference in strategy, right? On one hand, you have spermatogenesis, which cranks out millions of tiny, stripped-down cells that basically just contribute DNA. And on the other hand, you have oogenesis, which focuses all of its energy on making just one massive, nutrient-rich cell per cycle that contributes not only its DNA, but the entire starter kit for development. So now we've got our two main characters, the fleet of tiny messengers and the one massive, fully prepared vessel. The stage is set for the climax of our story, the moment these two paths finally collide. This is the spark of life itself, fertilization. So what actually happens in that incredible moment? It is so much more than just a simple merger. The arrival of that single sperm doesn't just deliver DNA. It triggers this cascade of dramatic, immediate changes inside the egg. It's like it flips a giant on switch for development. And it all begins with what you could call a molecular handshake. It's kind of a lock and key situation. There's a specific protein on the sperm's surface that acts as the key, and it has to fit perfectly into a specific receptor on the egg's surface. That's the lock. This is what makes sure that only sperm from the same species can get the job done. And that handshake, it does so much more than just open the door. It is the signal that activates the egg. It wakes it up from this relatively quiet, waiting state and kicks off the entire program of development. And this activation is unbelievably fast. Just look at this timeline. Within 1 second of contact, sodium ions are flooding into the cell. By the 10-second mark, there's this huge release of calcium ions. That triggers what's called the cortical reaction around 30 seconds, which instantly puts up a barrier to block any other sperm from getting in. The whole thing is locked down in less than a minute. It's incredible. And that initial spark just sets off a massive chain reaction. The cell's whole metabolism just roars to life. Protein production, which was pretty low before, just shoots up dramatically. Nutrient transport systems switch on. And, most importantly, the cell gets ready for the two nuclei to fuse, and it starts making new DNA for that very first cell division. So, the two separate paths have now completely merged into one. All that work in spermatogenesis and oogenesis has fulfilled its purpose, leading to the creation of something brand new. And that new creation, it has a name: the zygote. This is it. This is officially the very first cell of a new, unique organism. Its defining feature is that it contains a completely brand new combination of genetic information, a unique blend of DNA from both parents that sets the blueprint for the entire individual it's going to become. And that really brings us to this final, pretty profound question. How can a tiny sperm that fuses with only a minuscule fraction of the egg surface trigger the multitude of changes that occur in the new zygote? It's a question that just perfectly highlights the incredible complexity and, the elegance of this fundamental process, this precise and powerful molecular conversation that begins every single life story.